What's up, good people? Thank you for joining the Triple Threat Podcast. Again, I am DJ Shockley. You'll be my co-host here in 1 minute, my man Scotty D. I want to thank you guys again for joining us on the Triple Threat Podcast each and every week, bringing you all great insights and all good stuff that's going around in the world of sports. But also, before we start, let's talk about Snappy. Snappy are my people. I talk about them every single week. They provide electrical, plumbing, heating, and air services to all of Metro Atlanta. They give you lifetime parts and labor. I say it every week, lifetime. Who gives you lifetime on anything? Locally owned and operated, of course, and they support a lot of local high schools here in the area, man. Give them a call at 770-424-SNAP or check them out on the web at snappyservices.com. Everybody has a computer. You can check them out at snappyservices.com. Remember, electric, plumbing, heating, and air. And we also have the great promo code. You get $75 off your next appointment if you use the code Triple Threat. So we appreciate that. Snappy will appreciate you coming. Holler at them. Hey, they got a cool hashtag too. Snappy makes home happy. So continue, man, to use Snappy. You can check them out. Great people. Met a lot of great people with Snappy already. So check them out, man. Scotty, you love Snappy too, right?
I do. I love him. Snappy makes homes happy.
No, this cool T-shirt, man. I'm rocking it today. So, man, hey, man, y'all check them out, man. Don't forget, $75 off a promo code Triple Threat. Get $75 off, man. Hey, man. All right, let's jump into what's going on around the world of sports. Scotty D, what do you want? Let's start in the National Football League.
All right, yeah.
A lot of big games, man, the past couple weekends. We're both Atlanta guys. We both saw our Atlanta Falcons take another loss on Sunday. Tough loss that they took. What do you got to say about the old Falcons, man? What do you say about the 0-4 now Atlanta Falcons? Of course, you played on Monday night.
Yeah.
You played Aaron Rodgers in Green Bay.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to be tough going to Green Bay anyway. Aaron Rodgers is playing out of his brain right now. 13 touchdowns, 0 interceptions, not turned the ball over. What do you think of the Falcons on the other side, man? I know they're decimated, but what's your thoughts on them?
Yeah, well, I don't feel as dejected as I did in some of the previous losses, the way they lost. Like you just said, Aaron Rodgers is, you made a comment weeks ago before the season even started that Aaron Rodgers was still one of the best quarterbacks. And I didn't say anything, but I kind of took issue in my head that, I don't know, man. I think he might be falling off a little bit, but 13 touchdowns and 0 interceptions in 4 games. That's pretty solid. They're not, it's not gaudy numbers, but man, that's a clean sheet,
Yeah, man.
But God, all those injuries, I don't see things getting much better for the Falcons with some of the injury situation they got going on.
Yeah, man, it's gonna be tough, man. This week coming up, they got a division game. The Carolina Panthers, Teddy Bridgewater, Carolina Panthers look like, I think when the season started, everybody thought the Panthers would be retooling. They got Matt Rule, new coaching staff. Brady comes over from LSU.
Yeah.
This could be probably 2 wins for the Falcons, but Panthers are playing really good football right now, man. Just beat Carolina. Carolina just beat Arizona last week and Kyler Murray and that crew. So Carolina's coming here with a little confidence, man. So it's going to be interesting in that ball game. Other big games, you got the Raiders taking on the Kansas City Chiefs coming up. You got Thursday night football. We got the Chargers. We got Chargers in New Orleans on Monday night. But on Thursday night, you got Tom Brady on Thursday night. What do you think about Tom Brady and those Tampa Bay Bucks?
Well, selfishly, I was kind of hoping that they would not be everything people wanted them to be at the beginning of the season, but I think they might be it. Those, he's got all those tools. He's got a better group of receivers than he ever had in New England. So, and
even more than that,
and the running backs, man.
Yeah, he's got that. He's got a good defense. They're taking on the Chicago Bears. Thursday night football. Tampa last week had to come back. They were down big in that ball game. Got some turnovers late in that early before halftime from the Chargers. They end up going back up, getting the win. Brady throws 5 touchdowns. Mike Evans has over 100 yards. But they did lose O.J. Howard in that ball game to an Achilles.
Yeah.
So that takes him out of the fold. But they got a guy named Rob Gronkowski who may be getting a little bit more touches now. So I don't know how good that is for the rest of the NFL. But we'll see. We saw the Chiefs beat the Patriots. They also had to move that game to Monday night. It came on before the Falcons Monday night game. Brian Hoyer started at quarterback because Cam Newton had tested positive for COVID, so he was out. A lot of stories going around National Football League. The Titans had a couple more guys who tested positive for COVID, so a lot of interesting stories going around the league right now. Did you agree with them playing that ball game with Cam finding out about COVID like a day or two before they played?
Well, I mean, I don't know what testing measures they took, but I would trust that the NFL's done a pretty good job of keeping people tested, updated. They're testing. I don't even know how much,
right.
But yeah, I mean, if he tested negative and they tested other people and if he tested positive and then they tested everybody else, which I know they did that at least, and they tested negative, and I don't have a problem with it. I would like to comment on that game a little bit, man. That was an amazing game. How Belichick, I'm not going to say Hoyer necessarily, but how Belichick kept them in that game. 6-3 at the half. I think it was 10-3 into the fourth quarter before Kansas City started rolling a little bit, But that was I don't have a problem with them playing. Look, the other game, the Titans Steelers, they decided to postpone. So I like to think that the NFL felt good about playing the one game, but the other game, there was too many cases and too many positives that they had to move it. So yeah, I trust them.
Okay. All right. I'd love to hear it. All right, moving on. So some interesting news came out. Coach O'Brien for the Texans was fired after their 0-4 start at Houston. And there was an interesting story that came out that J.J. Watt and the defensive coordinator had a heated exchange with Coach O'Brien the next day he's fired. Now, I know a lot of it has to do with the 0-4 and what happened the previous years, but that doesn't look good when your star player and J.J. Watt has a heated exchange with your head coach and the next day he's out. Sam Darnold is going to be out. Guess who gets to start for the Jets? Joe Flacco is back in the fold.
Yep.
Also, other changes. Washington makes a QB change. They bench Haskins. So, I don't know. I think it's a little early trigger on Haskins, but we'll see. He gets benched for Kyle Allen.
What are they expecting, Haskins to do with that team? I mean, you got to let the guy play, man, I think.
Yeah, it's a struggle. It's a struggle. So, in our NFL talk, we got a couple teams in the NFC and AFC with some good records. In Seattle, the Bucks, the Rams, the Bears, the Packers. In the AFC, the Browns, Chiefs, Ravens, Colts, and Bills. Out of those group of teams, you called it fool's gold with one or two teams. Are one of those teams or a couple of those teams, will they be at the end, I should say? Will they be at the end winning a lot of games and being in the playoff manner?
Yeah, I mean, obviously we're only a quarter way through the season, but right now those would be the top 4 or 5 seeds on each side of the bracket right now, right? So, I don't believe the Bears, and I think tonight when the Bucks play the Bears, I think it's gonna be pretty ugly. Because the Bears look like hot doo-doo on Sunday. I watched a lot of that game, and the Colts are an okay team. I think they're good. I think they're a solid team, but my gosh, Nick Foles couldn't hit the side of a barn. I was waiting for Trubisky to get put back in, but I think the Bears are fool's gold. I think in the AFC, still waiting for the Bills to trip up, right? I mean, but they're not doing it. And
they look good. They look good. Josh Allen looked good, man. I ain't gonna lie.
Yeah. And
he's slinging it all over the yard.
Yeah, and the Browns, I don't know, man. I can't decide. I don't feel like they're as good as they are, but man, they just put up damn near 50 points on the Cowboys on Sunday.
In Dallas.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Dallas.
That was never – it ended up being a, 10-point game or something like that? But I don't think it was that close most of the game.
No.
I don't think it really was that close.
Dallas really ain't that good. So, hey, I'm with you. Browns, I think the Bills are a really good football team. Colts have a really good defense.
Yeah.
Phillip Rivers still trying to find himself, but the Bears. I mean, how many teams change quarterbacks when we get 3-0? I mean, that just doesn't happen. So that tells you something ain't right on the inside. They found a way to win ball games. So a lot of interesting stuff going around National Football League. Look forward to another great weekend of football. Let's jump into MLB, man. Playoffs started. We saw the Braves get a huge win the other night.
Mm-hmm.
Astros looking impressive. When you look at the whole landscape of the playoffs, what do you think?
Well,
I mean, is everybody looking like who they're supposed to be and winning the games they're supposed to win?
I think for the most part, yeah. I think what's interesting is out of 16 teams that started the playoffs, none of the teams from the Central Divisions made it. The Cubs, the Twins, the Brewers, the Reds, the White Sox, and I'm sure I'm forgetting somebody, but Cardinals. None of them advanced. They all got beat. So right now there's 4 series going on, and they're all division rivals. So you got the Yankees and Rays, which we've talked about in our past podcasts. We got the Braves and the Marlins, which are really hating each other right now. We got the A's and the Astros, which the A's really aren't pulling their weight right now, but they don't like each other. And then you got the Dodgers Padres, which are the I think widely spread. Everybody says the Dodgers are the best team, but everybody's most excited about the Padres. I've mentioned that before too. So
they get 1-0. So hey,
yeah. So they're all like rivals playing each other right now, which is making this round of the playoffs kind of fun, you know.
Yeah, you got the Marlins hitting Acuna. You know, they hit him like 5-6 times. So a lot of bad blood in that. A lot of bad blood in that particular series. Hey, before we move on, I gotta let people know, my man Joe Hamilton is going to be on today. I'm excited about having my man Joe on. Everybody knows Joe from the Georgia Tech days, running all over people. So my man Joe Ham will join the show. We got a lot of stuff we're going to discuss with Joe Ham today.
Awesome.
But Joe Ham's going to be coming up here soon, man. NBA, Lakers, Heat. Lakers take a commanding 3-1 lead. And when we were going through it, we were writing our notes about the show. We said, Friday is going to be a wrap. LeBron's going to be the real GOAT. He's going to have his 4th title. AD probably is going to be the MVP of the entire series. I mean, do the Heat have a chance, Scotty? Can they win a couple more games of this? Or can they even win Friday?
I keep wanting somebody to take the Lakers out, and I don't even know why. I don't even know why. Because to me they're not interesting. It's like it's
bro, anything LeBron on interesting.
Well, right now I'm pulling for the Heat. You know, I mean, I am, and I see maybe one more.
Be saying.
I'm saying maybe one more. I ain't gonna be that sad, but I see maybe one more win, but definitely not 2. This ain't going to 7 games. I know that much, but it could easily be over. Bro,
them boys ready to get out of the bubble.
Yeah.
Right now, they could be gone from the bubble is what they said. They took care of business in Game 3.
That's true.
So there's no way this is moving past the weekend. They're going to be going Friday, celebrating L.A. by Saturday night. So I like the Lakers, man. LeBron, he got a new focus going. He's saying he can't sleep. He said he up all night. He texting his boys before they play. So must win. So, hey, man, Lakers, they're going to end this thing on Friday for sure.
Well, right. I tell you, before we move on, though, I don't want to just give AD just a casual mention that he's probably going to be MVP. That dude has looked so good these playoffs.
This man covered Jimmy Butler in the last game in Game 4. This man is a power forward, center, and can guard the point guard all the way through the 5 and body guys. I mean, it ain't many dudes in the league that's like that. I mean, this dude hit a 3 at the end of the game the other night. And it was as smooth as Jimmy Butler shooting or something. I mean, it was – yeah, you're right. AD is a different breed, man. He made from a different set of cloth. You know what I mean?
Yeah, he's special.
College football, the most important time of the year right now. College football is having a lot of great games going on. Still waiting on the Big Ten. They're coming here in a couple of weeks soon to join the party. Let's talk about what happened this weekend. Georgia, Auburn, huge ball game that happened this past weekend. Everybody's expecting that to be a big-time matchup, top 10 teams going at it. Georgia to look good versus Arkansas. Who's going to play quarterback? Bo Nix's experience, Gus Malzahn always say they kick the dog crap out of Georgia. Georgia boat raced Auburn, crushed them in that ball game, dominated Auburn in every single phase of the game. Stetson Bennett started for the Dogs and played well. What did you think of that output of my Dogs?
Well, I don't know that I'm necessarily a big believer in Stetson Bennett yet, but I'm wondering. I'm not hating him. He sounds like a law firm, but I found. So I watched the Gators. I watched the Gators at 12 on Saturday, and they kept advertising the game, and they had two players on the graphic on the screen. One was Bo Nix, and the other was JT Daniel. And I'm like, it struck. I was like, well, this dude didn't even play for them yet. Put a defensive player on. That's the strength. That's the strength of that team, right? Put a defensive player. But he had him, so I just assumed he was playing that night. But he didn't see him. But I think Georgia got their ducks in a row on Saturday. They got that's what you're supposed to do when you're a top 4 team in the country. You fix stuff in practice, and then you come back the next week with things ironed out a little bit. But I also think probably Bo Nix hasn't really wowed me other than a couple plays here and there.
Bo is pretty good, but he just doesn't play well in those big games. Yeah. He hasn't played well in big games throughout his first year as a freshman and then going into this year. So hopefully they find a way to get better. Auburn will be a good football team, but they just were no match for Georgia that past weekend. Florida gets another win where the defense continues to give up yards and give up some points. I think a little bit closer game with South Carolina than they probably wanted or expected. But still, the Kyle Pitts, the Kyle Trask story continues. They continue to ball out. Yeah. Kyle Trask still putting up big numbers. Kyle Pitts got another two touchdowns in that ball game. He got 6 on the season now. Bo Nix has got 10 on the season, I believe it is. So Florida's offense is similar to LSU last year. They think they're going to outscore everybody possibly. I know those are your Gators. What do you think about your Gators other than having a good offense?
Well, everything on the offensive side I feel great about. It's not – Kyle Pitts is he's ridiculous, man. He's ridiculous. one of the best college tight ends I've seen. Just from a pass catching standpoint, obviously. But they've also got Kadarius Toney. They got
Bro, how about that run he had? That was crazy, running through 5 people.
I know, and he ducks out a tackle. He's tremendous. He's really underrated guy.
I don't know how you stop Pitts or Toney. Like, them dudes are ridiculously good, man.
And they got Trayvon Grimes. They got Jacob Copeland, and then they got a committee of backs. They're offensively they're going to be great. I just really worry about all the yards and points they give up. And they give up – it's weird because they give up long drives and give up a touchdown and then 3 and out the next time. I'm a little concerned about that. They're facing Kellen Mond this week, so that's a little bit of a concern because that's going to be probably the best quarterback they've faced so far. I think it's safe to say. So we'll see.
Yeah. Let's jump around. Big 12, Texas, OU, big game, Red River rivalry coming up. Not as much – flair as it has been in the past. Oklahoma lost a couple games. Texas has lost a game. Texas just lost to TCU 33-31. Oklahoma 0-2 in the Big 12. How crazy is that? I mean, you ain't heard that go in a long time. I read where they had a players-only meeting on Tuesday. So, man, a lot of things going on in Oklahoma. Who you got, Oklahoma, Texas? Who wins that ball game?
It's hard to say because, I mean, to me it seems like a shoo-in for Oklahoma overall, but God, man, I mean, first of all, they're eliminated from the playoffs. Yeah, they're out. They're done. Yeah, done. And I don't think Texas is that good. The media keeps trying to build up Texas, and every year this is the year. And I think Sam Ehlinger is a great quarterback and does a lot of great things. But I don't watch them that much, so I don't know what they are as a team. But I don't think this is that big of a game from a national standpoint anymore. Or this year anyway. But hopefully it'll be a good game. I think it will be. I'll watch some of it for sure.
Yeah. I mean, it's always. I mean, you always love these rivalry games. The best come out of everybody in these rivalry games. So look forward to that one. Other big games. We saw Mississippi State lose to Arkansas. Arkansas had lost 20 straight SEC games, and they come off the schneid, give Sam Pittman a lot of credit.
Yeah.
This team finds a win. Mississippi State falls off the face of the earth from the 623-yard passing game from KJ Costello.
Crazy.
That was glaring. Big game this weekend, though. Georgia takes on Tennessee. You mentioned Florida and Texas A&M. And the big one on Saturday night, Miami and Clemson.
Yeah.
That's going to be a game we're looking forward to, man, because Miami, Derek King, Clemson, we know Trevor Lawrence and what they're about. Can Miami be the team that dethrones Clemson once and for all? That's going to be interesting to watch. I think it's in Death Valley, too, so I don't know too much. Virginia Tech, North Carolina, the other game that something to look forward to. So a lot of big games happening.
I think those last two games you mentioned, we're about to find out how real a couple teams are. Miami and North Carolina. They're both top 10 teams. The pundits love them some North Carolina, including you. Love them some North Carolina coming into the season. So
I like Sam Howell, man.
This is a team. This is a team they should beat, but we'll see how it goes because they barely beat who they play, Boston College. Yeah. They barely beat Boston College last weekend. So we'll see if those two teams are legit. But I think I'm gonna lay the points for Clemson. I think this week. So I'm gonna give those points away.
We got it all recorded. So we'll see, man. Hey, man, I want to thank you guys. It's been fun. We're going to come back and we're going to be joined by the man, the myth, the legend, my guy, Joe Hamilton.
Yeah.
And he's going to let us know all things that's happened throughout his life and career. Talking about it being the Heisman runner-up. We got a lot of questions from my man, Joe Ham. Stay tuned. Triple Threat Podcast with Joe Hamilton coming up next. Now joining the Triple Threat Podcast, my dude finally got him on here, and you know it's tough for me to get my fellow GT guy on here, but I got my man Joseph Fitzgerald Hamilton on the line now. Joe, what up, man?
What up, DJ?
All good, man.
I like the introduction, man, because I feel the same exact way about you. Lots of respect. Lots of respect. You always kept it clean and you still representing. So I'm doing well. Family's well. Everybody's well. Even through a pandemic,
no doubt.
Still got my head up, following the protocols.
Yeah, man. That's what I wanted to ask you before we got started, man. How everybody doing through all these tough times? How you guys acclimated to it? And what's been the biggest or toughest struggle you've had during this time, man?
Well, toughest struggle, just remembering what you've known, instilled, that take one day at a time, be flexible, have the ability to adapt to any situation. Family time, the kids, I would say, DJ, the kids getting out at home, the mundane, doing the same thing for 3 months. But as we saw the future and as we saw we got getting better and things of that nature, all I was saying is follow the rules. Only listen to the CDC. I'm not an expert. Whatever the CDC, I'm not gonna mix words. I'm not gonna act like I'm a rocket scientist. No. How about you, DJ? Before we can start, how about you? How you and the family doing? How y'all doing?
Man, the fam good, man. My little guy, he playing a little his first year of football, tackle football. So he ate. We having a good time with that, man. My daughter gymnastics, my wife doing good. So I appreciate you asking about that, man. So everybody cool around our way, man.
Sounds good, brother. Sounds good.
So, man, everybody has to know Joe Ham. If you don't know Joe Ham, obviously the All-American quarterback at Georgia Tech, did a lot of great things for the Yellow Jackets. Now doing a lot of great things now after football. Joe, let's go back down memory lane a little bit, man. Let's go back to your South Carolina days, high school, man. Talk about your experience and when did you first get the love for football? But I know you're an all-around athlete, so I know you played multiple sports, but when did you realize maybe football is for me?
You're right, DJ. Not really realizing just football was for me. It was more so a situation where sports I love sports. So we were seasonal growing up in South Carolina, Alvin, South Carolina. Football, we would play football during that season. Basketball, it was a basketball, right? So then baseball, we were running the bases. Soccer, whatever we can do, we were running around. And at the end of the day, until my senior year, not necessarily saying I wasn't going to play football, but I was wondering whether I was going to play basketball or not. So I knew I was going to play football, but I had a couple, offers, little school, small school offers for basketball, tried to package it up somehow, just joking, knowing that Georgia Tech, all the big guys, wasn't going to let you play ball as a quarterback. But it was interesting, DJ, from the simple fact that we played ball. We know the game. That's it. So, we used to always say in South Carolina, especially deep in the low, a lot. AJ Green, one just off the top of my mind. I like, especially talking to you. But we know the game. There's a difference between field speed, game speed, and things of that nature, and then all with our mind as well. So growing up, man, I just played sports, man, just played.
Yeah. So how did you end up at Georgia Tech? I know a lot of people want to know how did they end up getting the famous Joe Ham? Is there a cool story behind it? Was there other schools you wanted to go to? Was it close? I mean, how did you end up at Georgia Tech?
Yeah, you would like this, DJ, because I went on my recruiting visit to Nebraska in 1994. Obviously 95. I was going to be a freshman in 95. And that was when Nebraska was coming off of the national championship. They were getting ready to go back-to-back national championship. Tommy Frazier, quarterback. Yeah. And I went out there by myself. I went out there when they were preparing to play the Orange Bowl. I think it was against Miami. That's when I took my official visit. And now sometimes people take it after the season or things like that. And some teams, Penn State included, and Nebraska brought me in doing preparation of a bowl before, after the season was over. So that's unique in itself right there. So, and when I came off that visit, Kevin Steele, now the defensive coordinator at Auburn, now he's the recruiter. Yeah, very good recruiter. And that's exactly why I left there. It brings a lot of, truth to the story. When I left there, I said, Coach, I'm coming. They had recruited me there. I am coming. And I got back home, DJ, and I said to Mom, I said to Dad, I'm committed. I'm gonna commit to Nebraska. That's where I want to be. And Mom looked at me and so supportive in the way she is. It was just a feeling like, huh? She said, but that's far.
You say that's far, that's too cold.
Yes, it was so deflating the way she said it. She was going to support him, but I just realized at that point, I said, okay, yeah, I understand, because they really relished it and they were going to be there the whole time, thought through it. Coach of Georgia Leary was very, very honest, because at that time, DJ, I was going through what we go through, or I went through. You were taller stature than I, shorter status quarterback that you're going to get changed when you get on the campus, DB, wide receiver. Yeah. So I dealt with all that as well. So it was really, really unique when you're talking about me making a decision to pick a college. I was very, very, very high on being a quarterback, that I am a quarterback, and I want you to at least let me compete as a quarterback.
Man, you know what? Even though you say that, I went through the same thing. And you know what gave me confidence is I watched dudes like you, bro. I watched dudes like you go tear it up. So I knew there was a chance for me when they say, oh, you got to move. Maybe you're not tall enough. So I knew then, I'm watching this dude right down the street from me. I'm down on the south side. So I'm like, I'm watching this dude right up the street downtown. He killing it. So I know I can do it on the next level. So I think that's good, man, because, we got a lot of kids that watch and listen to the podcast, and there are a lot of quarterbacks who are not ideal, 6'3", 6'4", whatever. And to hear you say it don't matter your size, it don't matter what people say about you, all you do is believe in yourself. And like you said, you was adamant about it. I'm playing QB.
Yeah, and DJ, you say that, and I totally agree. And I'm not going to backpedal from that at all, but I do want athletes in general to still be versatile. The more you do, the more you can do, the better you are. The more the coaches can get you in the field to help the team win. But the notion that you can't do something because of the magnitude, whether you're studying the film or trying to get better, that's the notion. And I'm trying so hard. I very seldom, use African American and white quarterbacks, and it's hard not to. You hear me, DJ? Because I know what's going on. I'm use more so dual threat, athlete, mobile, those things, and I'm still not forgetting that maybe other quarterbacks don't get that quick trigger pulled on them like Dwayne Haskins got pulled on him this week.
No doubt.
So and without you getting in depth, because I don't know, you might not want to go to this direction. It doesn't matter to me at all, DJ. I'm really, really close. I can't wait to really have a round of golf with you. I've seen you in the golf course. I know you're gonna have to give me a stroke or two, and you got to be able to. I've seen your swing, but that's the whole thing about it, DJ. Is the fact that we have a message, we have a voice, and balance, fair and understandable. I think that's our role.
Yeah, man. I mean, it's well said, and I think in this day and age that it's something that we don't have to back away from, man. I mean, I think it's pretty evident that, sometimes we had to do a little bit more. And that's just how, it went about. And, in today's age, there's a lot of things going on in our country, and, we fight against a lot of different stuff. So definitely been there and know exactly what that feels like, man. Let's talk about you in college now. Before we get to the glory years of 99 where you went off, talk about the things you went through to get to that time where everything was good and everything was all good, and you had to work your way into that spot. Talk about those first couple years, the things you learned, the things you went through to become the Joe Ham that was a Heisman runner-up in 99.
Yeah, that's good stuff right there, DJ. First of all, I want to give a shout out to Coach George O'Leary, because what he promised as far as recruiting me, that I would get an opportunity to play, compete. That's all he promised, and he was not going to move me, like you and I talked about earlier. And that happened. Brandon Shaw and I had a all-out even Stevens competition. I would get the first teams one day. He would get the first team the next day, just like Coach said, as a redshirt freshman. And I did some good things, and I struggled, and that's why to fast forward today, what I can tell Jeff Sims, what I can tell some other true freshman quarterback, or even redshirt freshman quarterback, it happens. Not everybody are Tua. Not everybody's Trevor Lawrence coming out of the womb and not having to develop. And that's what I did, DJ. I went to I was happy for the red shirt to be able to settle things in academically, get used to how to travel and do those things on campus. That settled me in. I wasn't ready because I was trying to do a little too much. And then Coach Friedgen came in, and Coach Friedgen basically said on my sophomore year, DJ, you need to eliminate the plays, the bad, the terrible plays, and then we can move forward. And mostly the bad and terrible plays were me trying to do way too much. Coming out of high school, not letting the other 10 guys play, not letting the players develop, not seeing concepts and understanding, hey, man, you're really trying to be Superman. And sometimes it doesn't slow down. It didn't slow down to me until really junior year bowl game, deep into the season. I think we played you guys later in that season. And then to the next year, that, really slowed down to where, wow, it's kind of easy. So it's been a really good process that I look back on, and I really enjoy thinking about it, DJ.
Joe, I would love for you to kind of tell the people that's listening, or athletes that are looking to play major college football, like they just see what happens on Saturday. They see you show up. They see you go out, you have a good game or whatever it may be. But talk about some of the stuff that you had to struggle through, or some of the things that you had to learn throughout the process of being a student athlete, going to class, all that kind of stuff that helped you later on.
Thanks for the lead in, DJ, because spokesperson now that don't put all your eggs in one basket. Don't think you're going to the NFL and be there for, 10 years, 15 years, and that's what you're going to be. Because I used to be embarrassed that I went to school in 2005 and I graduated in 2000. I went to school in 95 and graduated in 2007. That's 12 years. See, I used to be embarrassed about telling that, but when I'm speaking to the kids now, it's cool now to be a student athlete. It's cool now to read the Bible. It's cool now to pull your pants up and act like, hey, you have some sense. Those things are cool now. You shouldn't be ashamed of that. Not to say I was ashamed of it, but I was too one-track minded. All right, so, with all the tutoring going on and all the help that's available, there was no reason for me to spend 5 years, all right, DJ, at Georgia Tech and not have my degree. No reason. Messing around. Those are the lessons I learned. And I'm accountable in one way. Yeah, those guys will know. And sometimes I feel guilty, but I talk to my teammates often and let them know, say, hey, I think I failed y'all. Because they consider me as a great leader. Yeah, you are a leader. And as I look back at it right now, I'm like, I led y'all only on the football field. I don't mind if it's Zoom and for the people to hear and for the kids to hear. I love to tell this story that I was a guy that would, kind of hang out and miss class just to be alive for practice, just to make sure I go all out then. That's not the way. You know what I mean? That's not the when you get that opportunity to make sure you excel a total person and overall, when you see some guys that, have a polo shirt, or you see some guys that's in a business suit, it's okay to be business, and make sure that degree is the most important thing. And I must say this now, 12 years later, I did get that degree, and it was very, very important. Better and a better feeling than any touchdown I ever made.
Man, that's well said. I think so many people are going to get so much from that. I think kids are going to recognize that and say, man, this guy has been at the pinnacle, been at the top, and this guy understands what's important. So I salute you on that, Joe, man. I appreciate you saying that, being open and honest about, some of the stuff you had to go through. Let's get to that 99 season, man. I got a couple things I want people to know before you talk about this 99 season. You were All-American, won the Davey O'Brien Award, Heisman runner-up, ACC Player of the Year, ACC Offensive Player of the Year. I mean, what didn't you do besides win that Heisman? I mean, you did everything possible. And I remember watching you, Drew, because I was, junior high school. I'm thinking about where I want to go to school. And I'm watching you. I'm like, bro, I can go rip it up like he can, like he is out there killing it. Talk about that 99 season, man. Why was it so special? And how were you able to play at such a high level that year?
Yeah, I tell you, DJ, that was fun. Very, very, very fun. And it was so much fun because each and every day in the weight room and definitely on practice, man, I worked hard. And I demanded guys to work hard. And the reason why I did that, because on Saturdays was the showcase time. We wanted to exhaust yourself and then say, hey, to the fans, people watching, this is what we just worked on. Let's showcase whatever you want to do. You in the backyard and you behind the back, you're doing a Euro step and all that. You work on that until game. That's what I remember. And I also remember Coach Friedgen, loosening up the reins even more. My junior year, I had some, freedom to be able to get at the line and call some things, left, right. Maybe we had some kill. Now that in the NFL, one play to another. We had some of that. In my senior year, he'd let me run 2-minute drills when I wanted to, not just on my wristbands when it was time to, when I wanted to, and he felt comfortable. He communicated on the sideline. It was more so players talking. What do you want? You want to do this? You want to do that? And the game slowed down. You tell me it's slow. It's almost slowed down like I was going in slow motion. And I tell you what's so humbling about the whole experience, and which everybody will learn from this as well. That year, I think we averaged like 45, 46 points a game. And I never took my helmet off, DJ, in the fourth quarter. So we were always in a dogfight. The defense gave up so many points. And it was really it was a tough balance, to say the least. But I roomed with 3 defensive players. so normally when you would think that would divide a team when it's that such a balance, I was able to galvanize and let you, hey, man, guys, let's just go out here, try to make this happen, keep working and doing those things. And man, and not only that, when you talk about that 1999 year, you would like to hear this. Coach O'Leary sat me down right before that and told me about all the highs and expectations and what they expect. We're not going to be feeding you or featuring you. We're not going to do those things. We're just going to try to win games. So it came out, Allison George. Shout out to Allison George, a really, really good friend of mine. She was an SI director at that point in time. Yeah, they told me. And then also during that, and I hope I'm not too long-winded, DJ.
No, bro. These stories people want to hear. Yeah.
But I even remember after we played North Carolina that year, 1999. I think it was the third game of the season at home against Julius Peppers and those guys. He was a freshman then, and I kind of had some turnovers and all that. We made some plays. We were down at half, but we made some plays in the 2-minute warning to win the game. And they called me back in, DJ. They said, I think you were putting too much because I tried to, fake the defense and then turn up and then pitch it, whatever. And now, so it was a real deal that whole entire year, and it was a special moment, man. Special moment. I can remember details about that whole entire season.
Man, that's pretty crazy. I mean, that year was one of the craziest I remember watching. And you don't even know this, but when I was in Georgia, 2002, 2003, I was thinking about leaving Georgia, and the first person who reached out to us, Ralph Friedgen. He was at Maryland, and he said, "Look, did you see what I did with Joe Ham back in '99?" So that's a story I ain't ever told you, but Friedgen was really hot on the trails then, and was like, "Man, you could do some of the stuff that he did, and we could do some great things." Now, for some people, I'm gonna read out these stats. When you left Georgia Tech, 10,640 yards, 65 touchdowns passing, and another 83 total touchdowns. I mean, you talking about getting it done. You got it done. And I think, you were putting Tech on the map for sure. A lot of people I know remember good old Joe Ham. Let's move on to the league, man. You get drafted by the Tampa Bay Buccaneers back in 99. And you was drafted 7th round, and you were the 237th pick, I believe it was. And I was 7th round, 223rd pick of the 7th round. So we have some stuff in common. We're real close in the draft part of it. But talk about that. Talk about the experience of being drafted and then playing for Tony Dungy, what that was like.
It's unique. It's very, very, very unique. You hear me, DJ? Because growing up dreaming about the NFL and playing it, that's all we worked for that time, or getting to the highest level. And you worked for it. But the NFL, when I got there, disappointed me because from junior high to college to all levels, I was able to outwork a guy. I was able to say, I'm going to get up at 5 a.m. and maybe come into camp, and I might do a little bit more, do a little better than you, outperform you. That went out the way in the NFL. That went out the way. Shout out to Coach Dungy. I love him so much. He drafted me there at Tampa Bay. And I got a Super Bowl ring at Tampa Bay. But it was one of those deals I knew that I couldn't play or wouldn't be able to play because I didn't get the opportunity to play. And I always wonder when you look back at it, and I'm satisfied, DJ. I'm very satisfied. I look at the man in the mirror saying that I'm maxed out, no regrets. But if I would rather get the opportunity and throw 6 TDs, 6 touchdowns, and 27 interceptions, and have a 7-21 record and play than not get the opportunity to be out there and play, not get the opportunity to compete. I wanted to just see. So really, in the grand scheme of, my experience in the NFL was kind of empty as far as playing, but fulfilling because I made it. I can't discredit it. That's something that's going to be in my resume. So I'm very, very, very grateful for that. But I just wanted an opportunity.
I hear you.
Split the reps. I'm going to split the reps.
I hear you, man. I hear you. I've been there. Know what it feels like, man. You leave the Bucks and you go play in the Arena League, play for the Frankfurt Galaxy, and crush it. I'm talking about over 9,000 yards. And is this number real? Over 181 touchdowns.
Yeah, that's real in arena football. I don't want to exaggerate it too much, man. I don't want to take too much credit for that. That is real for arena football, but it gets way, way, way higher than that, DJ. Way higher. But I mean, even with that experience, DJ, that was all about who I am in a nutshell. I just want to play ball.
Right.
Okay, so that was just too. That was AFL, that was XFL, Frankfurt, NFL Europe. I wanted to play ball. Yeah, and that's how I saw, the Arena Football League. And that's how I see, ball period, football.
Joe, you know what, man? You move on, and you do some great things, and you start your career over. You start doing other things. You start coaching. 08, you had a situation that you overcame. Talk about overcoming obstacles in your life that everybody go through, because nobody's perfect. Everybody's going through their own set of stuff, and it just so happened you Joe Hamilton, and everybody know who Joe Hamilton is. But I tell you, man, nobody is irrelevant to the things that happen to them in life, but it's all about how you come back from them. And I think your story now of where you were then and where you are now, I think speaks volumes for people.
Yes. You know what, DJ? I want to say I really, really appreciate you for leading into that and not shunning it, especially you and I talking that might be saying that, their boys are going to protect that. When you look at somebody's entire career and what they've done in all steps and not skipping over 2008. DJ, I really appreciate that. I really do, because again, it's one of those messages. It's one of those learning things. It's one of those things that where you are here to make a difference. All these things I've given to you, these Hall of Fames and these talent, these gifts, because I asked the good Lord about that. What do you want me to do? Why am I me? It could have been a lot of people. You know that. Could have been a lot.
Doubt.
I'm asking why me. So at the end of the day, when I went through that, when the blue lights hit me, when the cops stopped me for doing wrong, for being illegal, for doing something illegal, the first step that I took was throwing my hands up. And that's the only step. I didn't point any fingers. I didn't blame anybody. It was his fault, that person. Nobody to blame. I threw my hand up, and right then, it was determined happen again and how I'll make it not happen again. There are steps in not being in denial and learning from that. I think, and I also set an example for my institute. I set an example for the Yellow Jackets. I set an example that there are no finger pointing. You can also do the right thing, even if it's somebody of your own that you really love. The right thing can be done. So there's been no problems at all with that. And again, I tell them now that I didn't point any fingers. It would be one thing if you try to use anybody else to say that's to blame, that's to blame, that's to blame, and then you can't grow. So you always got to grow, and we're gonna all make mistakes. And it was so disappointing, DJ.
Yeah.
Your name going to bottom line of Sports Center, your mom and your dad, very, 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 very hurtful. Very hurtful. But when you look at it now, when somebody has to search that on Google or look that up, is really on the bottom line, because you've done so many things to try to overcome that and show that that's not really who you are. You made a bad mistake, but let's move forward. I'm going to try not to do that again and get better and learn from it.
Man, you know what? I think that's probably the true test of the character of who you are, man, because a lot of people, like you mentioned, will shy away from it or say, hey, they'll blame everybody else. And I think the fact that you're honest, you're open about it, it's going to help so many people. But also, it shows that, hey, I made a mistake, I admitted it, and now I moved on. A lot of people don't realize when that happened, you had just been with Georgia Tech, been assistant coach, just been hired for 2 weeks, and then the situation comes, and a lot of people who are in that spot will probably be like, man, where do I go from here?
Yes, good stuff, boy. DJ, you well informed. You really follow Joe Hamilton. I like that.
You my dude, man. You my dude. I follow everything, man. You my guy.
But you're absolutely right, because that whole thing was that I was I had my chest far too out. Because you remember now, during that time, I just got my degree. I just did the things that coming back. I was a part of the staff of the committee of picking the next head coach, and that was Paul Johnson. And Paul Johnson is the guy that hired. I was in all those meetings. Charlie Strong, Neuheisel, Joker Phillips. I was on the part of the committee of picking a new head coach. And so from that process, Coach Johnson hired me, and then was just on the job. And then the lesson is that I thought invincible. Here I am, done things at Georgia Tech, graduated, now I'm at my alma mater. You're taking things for granted, not really, embracing and being too grateful and thankful. And bam, you're absolutely right. And then years later, DJ, to add on to that, as far as humility and taking on the chin and doing the little things, Coach Johnson was the same person that hired me back in the recruiting process about years later. So it's one of those things that I don't point fingers. I encourage, and if there's something to blame or something that needs to be taken responsibility for, I'll do it.
See, that's what's pretty cool is 5 years later, you come back to that same institute, and now you're part of that staff again. 2011, you were running ex-coach at Georgia State. 2 years later after that, you go, and now you're on the staff again. And that brings me to where we are now. First off, I want to give you a congrats. First, you were, inducted to the College Football Hall of Fame back in 2014. Now you just recently found out you're being inducted to the Georgia Sports Hall of Fame. So congrats on that, Johan. And you got a new show, man. You with Home Team, man, on 680 Fan every morning. I mean, we just talked about stuff that happened back in 2008. We talked about the struggles that you went through in college. But look at where you're staying now, and I think that's a true testament of who you are as a man, and I think it's pretty cool, man. Talk about the opportunity of first, being inducted to the Georgia Sports Hall of Fame, and then also now you got your own show. How is that, bro?
Well, Georgia Sports Hall of Fame, DJ, is one of those things that thank you, and you got to make sure everybody gets their thank yous. Offensive line, players, coaches, everybody. And I've always said, if you ever saw or see a frog on top of a building, somebody put him there, or somebody helped him get there. So he didn't get there by himself. The frog can't jump that high. Everybody needs help. Everybody needs help to do some things, and everybody needs help to maximize their potential. And that's where I feel about that. And immediately when you get inducted to a Hall of Fame like that, any Hall of Fame, but you look at the peers you're going in with. And that list, DJ, I said, Tom Roberts. I said, what is my name doing with Tom Roberts? I said, Boy Jordan, look at Stuart Sink, Maya Moore. What is my name doing with Maya Moore? Are you joking? So when you look at that and you're humbled by that, it's just so real. And to happen to well now, more momentum into our show, Home Team and Hamilton show. And I laughed or cringed or just tickled inside when you say a show, because that's what we try to do. We want to be, we want to definitely get the facts. We want to be, entertained, and we want to laugh. Make sure we laugh. Don't take ourselves.
No doubt.
We can be wrong. It's good for me now as a quarterback that I can play Monday morning. I can be right. I don't have anybody rushing me to be right as far as the offense. I'm a defensive lineman, so it's outstanding. And not only that, DJ, the time of the show and the way that my son is 12 years old. He's played football. He plays basketball. He's involved in a lot. My daughter, cheerleading. They're involved in a lot. And allows me to still
beat up on.
Yeah, pick them up, take them to practice, be almost a soccer dad while still doing life of what I love. And nothing beats telling my wife that I have to go downstairs to work. I have to watch a game. I got to go watch sports, and that's my work.
That's pretty cool, man. I'm glad you talked about your family there, man, because obviously there's always more to the man than, it's the people that surround him, people that's behind him, that support him, and all that kind of stuff. Before we let you go, Joe, I definitely want to ask you about your Yellow Jackets. Started the season really well, got the big win. First off, what did you think of the hire of Jeff Collins, who I absolutely love? I think the guy is an awesome hire, brings great energy. I mean, he is enthusiastic. And then what are the future hopes for the Yellow Jackets going forward? And can anybody dethrone Clemson, man?
Well, Coach Collins, outstanding hire. And I love the fact that he grew up in Conyers. He knows about the atmosphere. He can check the temperature. he can get some high school guys and high school relationship with coaches. I really, really, really love that. I love the energies he's bringing. I love the fact that he's not jumping in the boat. He's not saying that just because we Georgia Tech, we can't go after a 4 or 5 star. At least try to impress a grandma. At least try to impress a coach. At least try to impress whomever, to say, we're going to take care of you as a family. Use the city. And the fact that you're using the city is tremendous. I joke a lot, but it's embedded.
Waffle House.
Yes, and I joke a lot that it's embedded. You guys, the Bulldogs, not to say y'all want to, y'all dream about it, but y'all would love to have four area codes. Y'all would love to. And you know what? Another thing, DJ, right before I talk about that, in recruiting when I was at Georgia Tech and seeing things, the number one recruiting point on Clemson's board is that they are so and so miles or hours away from
Atlanta.
The number one, you guys, is you got so and so hours or miles from Atlanta. So again, with the 4-4, I think he's headed in the right direction. I think you got Jameer Gibbs and Jeff Sims, more talent being recruited. When you see talent playing like that as a young age, and competition is king, I think that'll draw more recruits. I love the excitement and how he's built that staff. And all we need to do now is that, and I know he can, is how good is the coaching? I know it's star-studded as far as recruiting. I know it's star-studded as far as, being able to have the flair and the swagger, and that's the only thing I was disappointed in Syracuse, and I must see against Louisville on Friday. I want to recognize our team. I need energy. I need passion. I need us flying around, playing together, building towards something, for the culture. I need to see that. I don't need to see us necessarily disappear, but the future's bright. Expectations, I get a little carried away, so I don't want to give you expectations. I get a little. I'm too much of a fan when it comes to that, DJ. Everybody gets in with a bowl game this year, so how many games we are able to play? If we got an extra game to play, the game more experience and all that will bode well for us.
Yeah, that's big, man. So I appreciate you, man. Joe, this has been fun, man. I think a lot of people they're gonna listen to this and say, "Wow, I didn't know this about Joe," or "Wow, this dude is next level," or "I love to see the way his life has gone this way, going all the way up." So, man, you've been honest. You've been keeping it a butt with us, man. So I definitely appreciate that, man. I appreciate you joining me. It's been fun having my man Joe Hamilton on the Triple Threat Podcast. You heard all the great nuggets. He said Georgia Tech is on the ride. Y'all make sure y'all check him out on Hamilton Home Team, 680 in the morning. Y'all 9-11, right?
9-11, my brother.
9-11, man. Y'all make sure y'all check out Joe Ham.
DJ, I'm sorry to cut you off like that, but I would like to just give a shout out to you, man, for joining me or having me on. Shout out for the love, the way you able to dissolve in Georgia Tech, how you keep it real and professional, SEC Network, what you represent, definitely how you represent the African-American community, stand-up father, stand-up husband, all those things, man. We've always been friendly like that, and let these people know that, good old-fashioned, clean old-fashioned hate is one thing on Saturday. But you get outside of Saturday, everything can be okay.
Nah, man, I appreciate you saying that, man. You always been a good dude to me. Always been real cordial to me. Like I said, I looked up to you for a very long time. Still do with all the stuff you're doing now, man. So the fact you was able to join us here on the Triple Threat Podcast has been awesome, man. We appreciate everybody joining us, man. Continue to subscribe. Continue to listen. This has been a Triple Threat Podcast. We see you next week. Deuces.